This is Elizabeth and Esther, and for our Latina Experience podcast, we interviewed Marina Hernandez and discussed her experience with family dynamics in the U.S.
We had the opportunity to interview Marina Hernandez. She is currently 21 years old, and she was born in Mexico, but when she was 2 years old, she came to the United States, and she's been here since then. We will be talking about family dynamics. That was a topic that she chose to speak on. And regarding the what was her experience? Like I said, she stated, family dynamics. So to her, family is very, very important. As a Latina and as a Hispanic woman, she was raised into being very family oriented, and family being important and being something they really appreciate. She explained how when she was younger, she would eat with her family at the table together, and she was always with her family, and she would sometimes compare herself to her other friends, or especially her Caucasian friends, and she would see that difference between each family, between her family and her friend's family. Family is very, very important. And so when it comes to what she observed or experienced, like I mentioned, she would think to herself, why do I have to eat with my family all the time and my friends don't do that?
So for me, we would eat dinner at the dinner table every night. It was always the same. However, when I would go to school and I would ask some of my friends, my Caucasian friends, they would tell me that they would sometimes eat family dinner, or most of the time they would just eat a sandwich for dinner in their room or by themselves at the kitchen.
She reflects back on those younger years, and she honestly is very grateful to have that opportunity to, have a family that supports her no matter what.
But now I understand we come from different cultures, different traditions. Everything's very different. However, in a Latino household, they will support you.
So about her experience was different than what she expected, because she said her Caucasian friends around her had different dinner routines. She also learned about people's family dynamics and how whenever she would go over to her friend's house for their parties, she noticed that their other families would be very small.
So I would notice that my friends would be the only child, or only have another brother or sister, and they wouldn't really have any cousins living near them. All their cousins were spread around the country, and I have all my cousins nearby. So family dynamics there, it was very different.
In terms of what she liked and disliked about the experience, she really liked being family oriented and having family dinners growing up, but at the time she felt that this was very odd.
And I was realizing that I had very different background, culture, and traditions from those that were raised here in the U.S. or from my Caucasian friends. I disliked them. I was very uncomfortable. I was like, what in the world? Why aren't we like them? Why do I have to eat dinner at the table? Why do I have to do certain things that they're not doing? And now I really appreciate everything that I've learned. I really appreciate my family dynamics.
She just didn't understand when she was younger why others did things differently than she did, and why she had to do certain things a certain way. But what she learned, and what was eye-opening for her, is that she was different because she came from a different culture. And for her, what was eye-opening was realizing that her white friends would oftentimes be self-supporting at 18. They would move out. They wouldn't have a lot of support from their family once they graduated high school. But for her, this was a really big eye-opening moment, because she realized that no matter what age or what stage of life she's in, as a Latina, her family was always going to be there.
So, how was this experience different than what you expected?
I think for me, what was different about this experience is that Marina had friends of different cultures. She mentioned Caucasian friends around her, and she was able to compare her cultural Latina background to her friend's experience growing up. And that was something that I wasn't aware of beforehand, and it was something that I didn't grow up. I didn't have a lot of white friends, or if I did, I never knew what their lives and their family dynamic was like. So that was different than what I was expecting. But yeah, what was something that you liked or disliked about what you heard?
Yeah, something I really liked is she reflects back on, growing up and family being very important. She wouldn't understand really, why or how important family was until now that she's a little older. She's able to be grateful for that experience, and she's grateful for her family, and for being very family oriented. Um, is there is something that you learned from the this experience?
Yeah, I think something that I learned about Marina specifically is understanding how she's able to reflect on her life growing up, and now she's just super grateful for everything that her family did for her and is still supporting her. So just to see how it's a full circle moment, and she has so much gratitude now, it made me understand and realize that you can go through differences between yourself and other people growing up, but you can still come back and have so much gratitude for your experience, whether it was a good one or a bad one. And for you, what was something that was eye opening about this?
Yeah, something that was eye opening, I guess, is how similar our upbringing was. We're very, very similar. Um, and, just the way we were raised and our family dynamics and how she explains everything, it sounds very similar to, my life and my personal experience. So, I guess it was eye opening to see how similar we are. And then regarding your view of the Latinas, do you think it has changed?
I don't think my view has changed much. Since I am Latina, I've always known that family dynamics are very strong. I think something that did change a little bit was just seeing how no matter what age you are, for Marina's family, they would always support her, even if she's older, like in her 30s. Um, for my family, it's a bit different. At that age, my parents kind of expect us to be supporting them in that situation, but it was really cool to see how, even though we're both Latina and have similar backgrounds, we can have differences there. So I think that's the one thing that did change about my view. But for you, uh, how does this experience affect the way that you view the world?
Well, the way it affects it, I guess, is just realizing and seeing how different everyone is and how different every culture is. It's just to be considerate and respectful of each individual, and their personal values and their personal cultures. I guess I would, you know, affect
Mhm.
the way I would view the world. Um, and what is something that you learned during this experience?
Yeah, for me, something that I learned was again just how you can be appreciative of your background, your culture, but also just be intrigued and informed about someone else's culture around them. And I think that's something that I can apply to my career path as I'm wanting to go into full-time ministry and just understanding as I'm working with people that we all come from different backgrounds, but we're all going to have a little bit of similarities between us. But for you, how is this something that you can apply to your career?
Yeah, well, I guess just to be fully aware of every of people's cultures, because I do want to work with kids and children and families as a social worker. So I guess just being aware of their backgrounds and where they come from, and you know um, They're different cultures, so it's important to learn and, keep in mind that, like you said, there's going to be some people that are much similar to you, but there's also going to be people that are completely different to you. But regarding that situation, it's always important, to respect each individual.
First, I felt odd because a lot of my friends didn't do the same things as I did. Like, they weren't very close to their family members. Now I appreciate it a lot. So that experience was, it was weird growing up, but now I'm like, okay, I'm different because we come from different cultures.